The first WrestleMania set the stage for everything that was to follow.
All the way around the world. Now you know what it's all about, brother.
Celebrities were out in full force, showing that this was the place to be. WrestleMania 2 pushed the boundaries, taking place in 3 different locations: New York, Chicago, and Los Angeles, delivering 3 huge main events. But it would be WrestleMania 3 in 1987 that truly displayed WrestleMania's full potential. And for our first match of the 2K24 Showcase of the Immortals, we go into the first verified WrestleMania Classic, the legendary clash for the WWE Intercontinental Championship between champion, the Macho Man Randy Savage, and his challenger, Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. Intercontinental champion since February of 1986, Savage tore through anyone who challenged him. That included a successful defense against George the Animal Steele at WrestleMania 2. A clash between Savage and Steamboat during a late 1986 edition of Superstars would see the Macho Man retain via countout, but that wasn't good enough. He would launch a vicious attack on the Dragon after the match, taking him out of action. Savage would attempt to duplicate the attack on Steamboat's friend and former opponent George Steele during the first Saturday night's main event of 1987. Fortunately for the Animal, Ricky would make his well-timed return for the save, leading to the rematch between the two at WrestleMania. What transpired between the two combatants can only be described as art. A fast-paced, high-action classic unfolded in front of 90,000 plus in attendance, with both men coming so very close to victory on a number of occasions. Would Savage be able to turn back the challenge of his angry opponent? Would Ricky Steamboat get revenge? These questions would be answered over the next 15 grueling minutes. And when it was over, everyone in attendance and those watching at home knew they had been a part of something special. The two superstars would forever be etched in history following the match, with Ricky Steamboat finally putting an end to the Macho Man's historic reign. It was all action from the moment the bell rang, and these two didn't give each other a second to rest. Ricky Steamboat fighting to avenge a career-jeopardizing attack months earlier by not only defeating Savage in the ring, but also ending his reign as Intercontinental Champion. The aggression was almost uncharacteristic from Steamboat. Was Steamboat too angry, and would that lead him to making a costly mistake? Was Steamboat too focused on hurting Savage and not on winning the match? Had the Dragon taken enough time to recover in the first place, or had he rushed back in the hopes of humiliating the Macho Man under WrestleMania's bright lights? Surely the presence of Miss Elizabeth's not-so-secret admirer, George the Animal Steele, was going to be a distraction to the Macho Man, who'd look to keep Steele away from his manager at all times. Could Savage shut all that out and lock in on his challenger? Despite the external factors, these two appeared to be firing on all cylinders once they settled in. There was a real sense that this match could be, and was going to be, something special. The fans were captivated by the constant back-and-forth battle, with no one really able to maintain any type of control in the early portion of the match. The Macho Man appeared almost thankful to get a moment to himself after dumping Steamboat back to the floor, letting you know that Savage understood he was in a fight unlike any other he'd been in before. Things were only getting started.
The Macho Man was trying everything, and that included fighting dirty, but Steamboat continued to have an answer at every turn. Steamboat's counter-wrestling had smothered Savage's offense, and the building frustration was obvious on the face of the Macho Man. In a match this closely contested, one small mistake can be a game-changer. And Savage's frustration led to him making a big one, charging at Steamboat only to be backdropped to the floor. Steamboat finally had a huge opportunity to pour on the pressure and put Savage away. Once the referee went down, there was a real sense of panic. Savage quickly hits his flying elbow, but obviously there was no official to count. The Dragon was grounded for now, but there was no way Savage had already put his fire out. After all the two had gone through, how was it going to end? Looking to take advantage of the situation, the Macho Man looked to use the ring bell on the fallen Dragon, only to be intercepted by George the Animal Steel. Macho Man, choosing to retaliate against Steel instead of getting back to Steamboat, ultimately ends up being the decision that costs him. A then-record Intercontinental Championship reign comes to a bitter end for Savage, who wasn't thrilled about the manner in which he lost. And Steamboat's counter wrestling remains the key to this match, once again getting him out of trouble and earning him the victory. Hard to feel bad about a guy who tried to use the ring bell twice. This match, over 35 years later, is still a certified classic. The athleticism is incredible.
Intercontinental Champion, Ricky the Dragon Steamboat!
Long tortured by Randy Savage, both the Dragon and the Animal's elation is easy to see as they're carted back to the locker room. Put this match on a loop and I'd never get bored. I love Steamboat versus Savage.
The clash between the Dragon and the Macho Man was a jaw-dropping battle between two of WWE's technical masters, an instant classic by all measures. But when the dust had settled and after the smoke had cleared, after Steamboat was carted off proudly holding his Intercontinental Championship above his head, the realization set in. We still have Hulk Hogan against Andre the Giant. Featuring two of WWE's biggest stars at the time, this was the headliner that brought those 90,000 people together in the first place.
Everybody has their best day at WrestleMania. That's the creme de la creme. WrestleMania, main event, there's nothing else in this world like it.
Hulk Hogan and Andre the Giant were great friends for years. Andre famously poured the bubbly all over Hogan when he captured the WWE Championship in January of 1984, and the two were nearly inseparable from then on. The two would be presented with trophies in separate weeks. Hogan was given one for reigning as champion for 3 years, while Andre received one for going 15 years without losing. For both ceremonies, Andre was not his usual self, first noting to Hogan that 3 years to be a champion, it's a long time, and ultimately walking out of his own trophy celebration when Hogan arrived to praise Andre's accomplishments. The world was on edge, waiting to see what comes next. Soon after, Andre would appear with Bobby the Brain Heenan.
Wait, what's going on here? Hold on, man. What are you doing with him?
Heenan had gotten to Andre, fanning the flames of resentment that burned inside.
Did you ever once in your life offer him a championship match?
A heartbroken Hogan tried to reason with his friend, but with one move, yanking Hogan's chain from his neck, it was clear there was no turning back.
There's nothing else like getting in the ring with Andre the Giant. It is the great unknown. When you get there and you're with Andre the Giant, you're outmatched, you're outsized, you're outpowered. It's an uphill battle, so you have to fight from underneath. You have to have everything in sync, body, mind, and soul, to survive fighting an opponent like Andre the Giant. When I slammed Andre the Giant, I was surprised how the crowd reacted. 94,000 people lost their breath and gasped at the same time. It overwhelmed me in the ring. It's etched in stone. It's just overwhelming how many people every day approach me and talk about WrestleMania 3.
Now it's up to you to do the impossible and defeat Andre the Giant at WrestleMania 3. It truly is the irresistible force meeting the immovable object.
It felt like time stood still once the bell rang, and Hogan and Andre approached each other in the center of the ring. It was finally here. The reason all these people were in the arena. The dominant 3-year WWE champion and the man who'd gone undefeated for 15 years about to collide. Who would strike first? Everything was amplified here. Andre's shove felt thunderous. Then, everyone held their breath when Hogan tried and failed to body slam Andre, nearly losing the match in the process. Could Hogan slam Andre? Would he try it again? Did he hurt his back or his knees in that failed lift? Andre, thinking he'd won the match, would have to recompose and get back on the task of taking out the Hulkster. Hogan had dealt with bigger opponents before, but really seemed to struggle with Andre's size and power advantage. Every shot Andre landed crumbled Hogan. Andre had just been dominant to this point, but an ill-advised trip to the ringside area would see Andre make his first real misstep, throwing a headbutt at Hogan that only ate ring post. With little success in the match to this point, Hogan would look for a pile driver of all things. But Andre easily backdropped him to the floor. If Andre could shake off headbutting the ring post so quickly, what was it going to take to keep him down for a 3 count? Hulkamania was looking to be in deep, deep trouble. That moment where Hogan finally takes Andre down with the clothesline and seeing Andre timber to the mat, that's when it seemed like Hogan winning was a real possibility again. But he had to act right now or Andre would recover. Bobby Heenan screaming at Andre while he's down let you know the brain knew it too. And then you see Hogan start shaking his arms and you're just thinking there's no way. But there is. And then it happens. Hulk Hogan lifts Andre the Giant up and body slams him. Nobody thought he could do it. One of the most magical moments in WWE history. Hogan was in full control of this match.
Here is your winner, and still the WWE Heavyweight Champion, the Immortal Hogan!
And WrestleMania 3 ends with real American blasting, a Hulk Hogan pose down, and Andre the Giant and Bobby Heenan stunned in their failure. One of the most important matches not only in WrestleMania history, but WWE history itself. Up next, we jump ahead to WrestleMania 5 in Atlantic City, New Jersey. Those with tickets didn't know it as they entered the venue that evening, but they were about to witness one of WrestleMania's biggest upsets take place right in front of their eyes. The Ultimate Warrior captured the WWE Intercontinental Championship at the inaugural SummerSlam in 1988 by blitzing the Honky Tonk Man, ending his record reign in a little over 30 seconds. Since then, he seemed unstoppable, a lock to become WWE Champion one day. Two people who were not impressed were Ravishing Rick Rude and his manager Bobby the Brain Heenan. The 1987 Slammy Award winner for Best Body felt that Warrior was nothing special, both in-ring and even in terms of physique. This led to Rude challenging Warrior to a super pose down at the 1989 Royal Rumble, where the winner would be decided by the WWE Universe's approval. Pretty quickly, it was clear that the Ultimate Warrior was going to be crowned the people's choice, and Rude was livid. It launched a vicious attack, bringing the competition to an abrupt end. That would lead to the signing of the contract for the two to compete in the Intercontinental Championship match at WrestleMania 5, and the world felt that Warrior would destroy his brash challenger. But Heenan and Rude were more than prepared for the champion. Heenan was desperate to have WWE Gold in his vaunted Heenan family ranks, and he knew that the Ravishing One was the right man for the job. They told anyone who'd listened that Rude was going to beat the Ultimate Warrior at WrestleMania, and now the time had come. Had they backed Warrior into a corner, or were they about to realize they'd bitten off far more than they could chew? That's a question only you can answer.
Warrior wasted no time, rushing at Rude the second he entered the ring. There would be no feeling out, no tentative lockups here. Warrior was here to make Rude pay for what he'd said, and especially what he'd done. And he was going to do that with some of the freakiest power ever displayed in WWE. The way he absolutely manhandled Rude was a sight to behold. No one had done this to Rude before. All the confidence had been drained from the faces of Rude and Bobby Heenan, as Ultimate Warrior had steamrolled his challenger in the opening moments. Rude had struggled to this point, but his luck was going to change in an instant. Warrior hit the ropes 3 times before attempting his big splash, giving Rude just enough time to get his knees up and block the attack. Big time ring awareness shown by the Ravishing One to keep himself in the match. Rude needed to take advantage here because his opportunities for offense were few and far between. Rude looked to put Warrior away with the Rude Awakening. And then Warrior just powers out of it. Pushes Rude's arms away like they're nothing. No one had ever seen that done. All the momentum now with the Warrior. And he's looking to punish Rude a little bit more before ending the match. Rude looks completely out of it. And even Bobby Heenan looks flustered. Rude is trying to survive, trying to escape, but Warrior is relentless. Warrior's throwing Rude all over the place when it happens. One last act of desperation from Bobby Heenan turns this match on its head. He trips Warrior and hangs onto his boots for dear life. Warrior can't kick out. Just like that, Heenan and Rude have stolen the Intercontinental Championship from the Ultimate Warrior in front of a completely stunned crowd. Rude smartly took his new championship and headed for the locker room. But Bobby Heenan, on the other hand, would not be so lucky, further incurring the wrath of an angry Ultimate Warrior. And while the now former Intercontinental Champion would chase the new title holder right out of the arena, nothing could diminish the huge upset that night at WrestleMania 5, with Ravishing Rick and Bobby the Brain pulling a fast one.
An arena left completely shocked as Ravishing Rick Rude pins the Ultimate Warrior to win the WWE Intercontinental Championship, with a little assist from his manager, The Brain. Hey, if the ref doesn't see it, he can't call it. Those are the breaks. With the crowd buzzing from the monumental upset, it was time for WrestleMania 5 to deliver its main event. The Macho Man Randy Savage defending the WWE Championship against his former best friend and Mega Powers partner, Hulk Hogan.
Yeah, the Macho Man Randy Savage. Dig it. He was one of a kind. He was intense. He was a great athlete. Everything about him was 100% perfect for sports entertainment and professional wrestling.
While the split of the Mega Powers was made official on a February 1989 edition of the main event, the cracks had been obvious to many long before that fateful night. Hogan and Savage's friendship had been beneficial to both, which was never more evident than the year prior at WrestleMania 4. On this evening, the vacant WWE Championship was to be decided in a 16-man, one-night tournament. In an absolutely brilliant display of athleticism and heart, the Macho Man would compete in 4 different matches to claim the championship. But it was in the final against the $1 Million Man Ted DiBiase that Savage would run into seemingly more trouble than he could handle. In DiBiase's corner was Andre the Giant. Throughout the match, Andre interjected, bringing Savage's offense to a halt, or distracting him for attacks by DiBiase. Eventually, Miss Elizabeth would run into the back, bringing Hogan out to restore some order. And Hogan's presence led to Savage's win with a perfectly timed chair shot that the ref didn't catch. Like I said before, those are the breaks. The Mega Powers would be locked in a heated rivalry with Andre and DiBiase, now known as the Mega Bucks, that culminated with their victory at the very first SummerSlam. Around this time, though, it appeared Randy Savage was jealous of the closeness between Hogan and Elizabeth. Some on commentary would mention it, but many were quick to dismiss that there was any tension between the two. Things got worse at the 1989 Royal Rumble when Hogan eliminated Savage, some claim accidentally, which infuriated the Macho Man. Everything came to a head at the main event 2 on February 3rd, 1989. The Mega Powers would compete in tag team action, looking to show the bond was still strong. After Miss Elizabeth was caught up in the action, Hogan would take her to the back for medical attention, leaving the Macho Man alone. Upon his return to the match, Hogan would extend a hand to tag in, but would instead be slapped in the face by an enraged Randy Savage. A post-match altercation in the locker room would make it official. The Mega Powers were dead, and a clash was inevitable. Soon after, Hogan would lay down the challenge for WrestleMania 5. In a final twist, Miss Elizabeth would side with neither man, insisting that she'd be ringside in a neutral corner instead, offering to help either if they needed it. We were able to sit down with Hulk Hogan to talk about the night the Mega Powers exploded.
The lines were so blurry between reality and what we were trying to accomplish. He was madly in love with his wife, Elizabeth, for real. He was madly jealous for real. Leading up to it, you know, when she was managing him or managing me, or couldn't depend on who she was going to manage, it made him crazy. I just didn't know what type of abuse I was in for, so it was a little nuts. He was there to go, and he pushed the gas pedal down really hard on me in that match. Once you became a Macho Man fan, that was the only thing you could think about. His look, just the way he carried himself. I had nothing but respect for him.
It's always so great to hear from the legends themselves when it comes to these unforgettable WrestleMania moments and matches. Thanks again to Hulk Hogan for his time. Now, let's get you into the middle of an intensely heated WWE Championship match where the world would watch the Mega Powers explode.
Hogan came into this match incensed, and the Macho Man looked to use that to his advantage early. With months of payback heading his way, Savage was evasive and defensive to the bull rush tactics of Hogan, appearing to frustrate the challenger. Hogan had a look in his eye that night. You could tell he wanted to hurt Savage, and Savage also wasn't shy about using Miss Elizabeth to his advantage, flagrantly bringing her into harm's way to stop Hogan in his tracks. Savage was playing by nobody's rules but his own, and if Hogan was going to get any revenge, he'd have to find a way to keep his own temper in check. Savage was showing early on that his approach would be as chaotic as possible, and now a once rampaging Hogan had slowed things down, looking to restore some order. The Macho Man's actions sent a clear message that anything goes and anyone would be fair game. Savage had, for the moment, managed to turn the tide with a well-placed boot. Now Savage wanted to slow things down, but this also gave him a chance to talk directly to Hogan. To remind Hogan of what he'd done to him at the main event. To rub in Hogan's face the fact that the Macho Man is the WWE Champion. That he knows Hogan is jealous of him and always has been. To look over at Miss Elizabeth and taunt her because Savage doesn't for 1 second believe that she's neutral at all. The Macho Man was getting some energy back while slowly sucking the life out of Hogan. Could the cheers of the Hulkamaniacs get him back to his feet? Hogan would get back on the attack once he broke free. Why not go for the leg drop? Hogan's flash of offense is extinguished as quickly as it started, and Randy Savage seemed to have Hogan on the brink of exhaustion in their mega power collision. In one of the more surprising moments of this match, Miss Elizabeth proves herself true to her word, stopping Hogan from running Savage into the ring post, maintaining her neutral status. The Macho Man would take advantage of Hogan's reluctance. Once again, Savage showed no regard for the safety of Liz. Fed up with her presence, Savage would insist to the referee that she be removed, and she'd be escorted back to the locker room. Having his constant distraction removed seemed to invigorate Savage. He was looking to put the finishing touches on what had been a master class to that point. Just moments away from showing that it was Savage who was the true force of the Mega Powers, not Hogan. Looking to set up his vaunted flying elbow, Savage would target Hogan's throat. Hulkamaniacs knew to never lose hope, but it wasn't looking good for Hogan here. The Macho Man looked better than he ever had, seemingly on the verge of his biggest victory yet.